In the distant year 1897, in 1889, a girl named Anna Haining Bates was born. She was nearly 8 feet tall, which made her truly extraordinary. No wonder that at the time of her birth, her waters broke, and she lost an astonishing amount, about 6 gallons of fluid. It was then that doctors made a chilling and remarkable realization. Some people in human history have lived much brighter lives than the average, and in Anna Bates's case, also of very tall stature. In fact, she became one of the tallest people ever to have lived on Earth. She was born in 1846 in Nova Scotia. Her parents were two immigrants from Scotland, Graham and Alexander Swan. They had just welcomed their third daughter, whom they named Bab. But this little girl was unlike other children. According to reports, her birth weight was around 13 pounds. By the age of 4, she was already over 43 inches tall, more than 190 centimeters, and weighed over 90 pounds. By the time she turned 15, her height had reached 7 feet, and her growth continued. Although no official medical diagnoses were made at that time, it was later discovered that Anna suffered from gigantism, a condition caused by a tumor of the pituitary gland, which produced an excessive amount of growth hormone. This hormonal imbalance led to abnormal growth of bones and tissues. People with gigantism are characterized by rapid growth, and their lifespans are often noticeably shorter than average. However, despite all the difficulties Anna faced, her life was full of adventures and extraordinary events. Anna's family was very careful about her unusual condition. When the girl outgrew her elementary school desk, her father diligently built a specially designed, much more spacious piece of furniture, a large desk and a bed, so she could feel as comfortable as possible among her 12 brothers and sisters. But no one could protect her from the gazes of others or from the rumors spreading across the vast expanse of Nova Scotia. When news of the girl became known, people flocked to her family's farm to see this natural wonder. Local newspapers began publishing articles, only fueling interest and causing even greater excitement. One publication even called her a little giantess, adding a unique feature to her extraordinary destiny. Thus, from a young age, Anna became a sensation, an extraordinarily tall girl, regarded as a living miracle. Her family and those around her quickly understood. They were facing not just an unusually tall child, but a remarkable phenomenon that would forever change their perception of the possibilities of the human body. Anna's life took a turn when she needed to find additional sources of income for her family, as they faced financial difficulties. Like many farmers of that time, they were no strangers to involving their children in work to support the household, and Anna continued to grow and develop. However, her growth required increasingly more expenses. She regularly needed new clothes and shoes, which were particularly expensive at that time. To earn more money and help her family cope with their financial struggles, it was decided to send Anna to fairs and markets in various locations, where she performed and entertained the audience. Despite some disapproval from those who believed that the family was exploiting the girl, most historians agree that her parents and relatives cared for her sincerely and always tried to ensure her safety in any situation. Although Anna did not always perform on tour during her youth, she made many efforts to maintain a sense of a normal life. She often taken care of her younger brothers and sisters, and her free time was devoted to reading and artistic pursuits. Through these activities, her life remained relatively balanced, and although her path was unusual, she tried to live as normally as possible for a girl of such a young age. Deep down, she dreamed of becoming a teacher. However, when she lived with her aunt and attended a local school, her hopes faced serious obstacles. Due to her height and size, the classroom seemed almost cramped to her, and the constant attention from others, especially mockery and insults, made studying and social interaction very difficult. This negative experience ultimately crushed her dreams of a teaching career. Fortunately, fate gave her new opportunities. In 1662, Anna moved overseas and got a job at the famous P.T. Barnum Museum. There, she was accepted as a representative of a special kind, one of the giants from the New World. At the museum, she acquired unique knowledge and skills, including singing and playing the piano, as well as receiving tutoring. The museum provided her with conditions almost fantastical for that time. She earned $23 a week, which is roughly equivalent to about $500 today. In addition, she was offered support and the opportunity to earn extra income by selling photographs of herself. This was quite remarkable, since at that time, such rights to images were often granted without the possibility of retaining them. But in Anna's case, the contract allowed her to keep the copyright to her photographs, enabling her to remain financially independent. All these circumstances made her stay at the museum especially enriching and filled with opportunities available to only a few. Anna played various roles on stage, among which her portrayal of Lady Macbeth was especially memorable. At the same time, she actively engaged with the audience through live Q&A sessions, aiming to share her unique experience as one of the tallest women known in human history in a detailed and frank manner. This experience was mostly very positive for her, as it allowed her to control her own story rather than being limited to simply the role of a musical freak, as she was sometimes called. At that time, in 1818, when one of the largest and most devastating fires was raging in New York, the Barnum Museum found itself at the very heart of this tragic event. A blazing fire engulfed the building. Amid the chaos, Anna was directly on the scene. Her staircase was already in flames, and she herself, weighing nearly 400 pounds, was so large and immobile that she couldn't fit through the window. Somehow, with the help of 18 people carrying her in their arms, she heroically managed to escape from the fire with great bravery. Before that, she had helped others to escape, selflessly sacrificing herself. And adhering to this principle, she nearly put herself in danger, an act confirmed by many reports. Anna was a clever, kind-hearted woman who met many people of different appearances and physical characteristics during her tours, and quickly established a common language with them. She formed friendships and genuinely became attached to the people she met. In fact, her vibrant personality and magnetic charm often allowed her to become a good friend even to highly influential individuals, including one of the most famous members of the royal family of that era. Anna became a familiar figure in the world of traveling performers. She toured all over Europe and the United States in 1863. Moreover, she even befriended Queen Victoria herself during her travels through European countries as an extraordinary attraction, and over time, their relationship developed into a true friendship, something quite unusual for stage stars. Many were attracted by her charisma. Rumors circulated that she received numerous proposals for romantic relationships, but due to her career and constant touring, she preferred to decline these advances. It was difficult for her to discern who was genuinely interested in her and who was merely hoping for a profitable service or financial gain. However, fate once brought her together with a man who made her believe in the possibility of true love. Although he was not her first lover, he undoubtedly became a special person in her life. When she performed at the circus in Halifax, her gaze involuntarily fixed on a tall man named Martin van Boegena, a man of the same height, 8 feet. Naturally, like any attentive observer, Martin also noticed Anna, almost like a promoter, his gaze fixed on her, which set in motion a series of significant events both in her professional career and personal life. Soon after, Anna married Martin in her 21st year, and the wedding took place in London. Their fates became intertwined through mutual passion and love, which had blossomed back in 1861 when the couple began touring together in the circus, traveling through various countries and performing before audiences. Time passed, and nearly 10 years later, in 1871, a pivotal moment occurred in their lives. Their marriage was made official, and Anna gained a strong family foundation. Their wedding shone brightly amidst personal tragedies associated with the sad loss of Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, which plunged her into deep depression and was a severe blow to the entire country. The Queen mourned this loss for the rest of her life, and despite her personal grief, she showed compassion and support for others and their stories of love and joy. In 1871, when rumors spread that Anna had found her true love, the Queen decided to do something special for her. In honor of this event, she was gifted a wedding dress sewn from 100 meters of satin and 15 meters of lace, adorned with embroidered orange blossoms symbols of happiness and love. There were whispers that Queen Victoria herself organized Bates's wedding at St. Martin's in the Fields Church. After the celebration, Anna Bates returned to Buckingham Palace, where she had recently been received by the Queen, who invited her to visit the palace and witness the momentous occasion personally. As a token of gratitude, she was presented with a diamond ring, and the groom received a magnificent gold watch. Subsequently, the couple met with the Queen at least twice. 1 year after their wedding, the lovely couple bought a farm in Ohio, a distant state, which marked an important step in their married life. There, they built a house equipped with the latest technology, with high ceilings and spacious doors designed for comfort. All furniture was custom made with careful attention to detail to emphasize the uniqueness of this estate. However, despite wealth and luxury, the spouses decided to leave the back part of the house moderate in size, making it convenient for both servants and guests who often visited them. Anna always had a love for animals. She was opposed to horse racing and believed it essential to protect the animals that had left the circus. Her care and compassion became an important part of her character. In 1872, just a year after their marriage, the young wife became pregnant and was expecting their first child. However, this joyful event turned into a tragedy. The girl, weighing only 18 pounds, died during childbirth on May 20th. 7 years later, in 1879, Anna again found herself on the threshold of motherhood. In January, on the 18th, she experienced a difficult labor. The doctors informed her that her waters had broken, and she had lost a total of 6 gallons of fluid. The labor was very arduous. It lasted 810 hours, and the physician diagnosed that the fetus was so large that it was impossible to properly apply forceps and assist the baby in being born. He was extracted using a cord tied around his neck, and unfortunately, the infant died 23 years later. Martin later recalled that he saw what appeared to be an ordinary baby at birth, resembling a 6-month-old. But everything ended tragically. These last childbirths were unfortunate and lasted only 11 hours, leaving behind only bitterness and regret. The life of her child, a boy, was tragically cut short, as often happens in such destinies. He became a holder of the world-renowned Guinness record for the largest newborn documented in medical history. The loss of her second child had an incredible and painful impact on Anna, transforming her inner world into a zone of profound upheaval. She fell into deep depression and clearly made it known that she no longer wished to participate in touring performances. All her energy and strength were directed toward coping with the vulnerable emotional pain that engulfed her heart. Over time, although she made another attempt to return to touring with the circus, circumstances took such a turn that she ultimately had to refuse the stage and, eventually, leave her professional musical career. Anna and her husband made the key decision to change their way of life, choosing to leave behind the busy days filled with bright stage lights and to dedicate themselves to a calmer, more settled existence. By the early 1900s, their path gradually led them to a quiet rural life, where Anna spent all her time on a farm, striving to find peace in her soul. In 1908, their family life grew even closer when they, along with Martin, found spiritual refuge in a Baptist church, sincerely battling severe illnesses such as tuberculosis and thyroid problems. Unfortunately, Anna's health deteriorated, and at just over 39 years old, she died in her sleep from heart failure, leaving behind a short but vivid memory. Her passing was a great loss, not only for the family but also for those who knew or heard about her. To honor the memory of his beloved wife and mother, Martin installed a monument at her grave, which still serves as a reminder of her significance. A year after this tragic separation, he again changed his fate by marrying anew and moved from their shared house in Ohio, so that his new wife could feel more comfortable and at home, given her significantly taller stature. When Martin passed away in 1919, he was buried beside Anna and their only son, which attests to the strong love and unwavering memory that connected them in their final resting place. To this day, the state of Ohio continues to honor the memory of Anna and Martin. In Halifax, there is an exhibition featuring artifacts and informational materials that tell the story of their life together and their destiny. There is also a museum fully dedicated to giants, and some of their descendants are still involved in curation, giving tours, and sharing stories about the family, vividly illustrating their history. Anna was often depicted and advertised as a woman over 8 feet tall, making her a truly unique individual. In reality, her height reached nearly 7 feet 11 inches, but to create a greater artistic effect and boost popularity, newspaper reports often exaggerated her size, portraying her as a person over 8 feet tall. Such distortions of reality were necessary to attract more public attention and emphasize sensational stories in the press. As a result, despite inaccuracies and embellishments, reliable information confirmed by the archives of the British Library remains, verifying that Anna's figure was always part of popular mythology, highlighting her uniqueness with maximum impact for the audience. On promotional posters from the era when Anna toured various cities and countries, she was presented as the tallest woman in the world. It was at these exhibitions that she attracted far more attention than famous figures such as Chang and the original Siamese twins, who at the time were considered some of the brightest stars in London. Her higher placement on advertising posters and as the main attraction served as a powerful reminder of her uniqueness and grandeur. Thanks to her impressive stature, she drew enormous crowds, and these gatherings were often comparable in scale to her entire life and existence. We thank you for your attentive interest in this story. If you enjoy learning about recognized and fascinating facts from history, be sure to read our other materials. Don't forget to explore our publications to continue delving into the mysteries and incredible stories of the past, uncovering them and gaining new knowledge.